she was always like so happy and stuff.
What is your last memory that you have of Celeste?
We were at PE and she told me and my friend that she was running away, and she said it was because of her parents, and she was like joking about it, and she was like happy, like joking like she always was, and like it didn't seem real because like she was like playing around, joking about it. And the next day she wasn't at school, and like that's the last time I saw her.
In the back of my mind, I killed you, and I didn't even regret it. I can't believe I said it, but it's true.
We have been telling you about a body parts found in the trunk of a Tesla owned by the singer David. We now know who the victim is in this case, and there are a lot of twists and turns.
As if the story involving D4VD and Celeste couldn't get any more sinister, the FBI has reportedly found a message in his Tesla. Celeste's final words are characterized as a note, and everyone is feeling rattled by the way this entire thing is developing. Because it's no longer just about a missing girl. This is about one of the most anticipated breakthrough artists in music finally facing the truth. If that wasn't enough to leave you speechless, her ex-boyfriend recently revealed information that completely alters the situation. Celeste's ex-boyfriend, Damien Hernandez, acknowledged that he always sensed something wasn't quite right. He said that she was raised in a dysfunctional household, received poor treatment, and would make jokes about wanting to run away. He dismissed it as youthful jargon at the time. He claims to feel sorry now, though, because of what has come out. According to him, I should have done something that in and of itself is tragic, since it depicts a girl who was in dire need of assistance long before the news made headlines. Furthermore, the fact that her ex is now coming forward indicates that this case is more than simply rumors on the internet. Real people are involved, along with genuine apologies and warning signs that were disregarded. And that's only the start. This case is turning into one of the most unsettling scandals the music industry has seen in years, complete with the FBI evidence bags, the abandoned Tesla in the Hollywood Hills, eerie song analogies, and a message that could reveal all. By now, everyone is familiar with the headline. The body of Celeste was discovered in D4VD's Tesla. The internet was broken by that detail alone. The way the finding actually happened, however, is the aspect that isn't discussed enough because it adds to the overall spooky atmosphere. It wasn't like the Tesla appeared overnight. Dust accumulated as if someone wished it forgotten, and it lay deserted in the Hollywood Hills with a parking ticket pasted on it. She was discovered by the cops when they eventually peered inside. Furthermore, it wasn't concealed in any intricate manner. There it was. In the rear seat is a black bag. Not only was the car filthy, it appeared to have been staged, as if someone had parked it, left it, and hoped that the evidence would disappear with time. Private detectives identified the dust, the ticket, and the location for this reason. It all appeared to be intentional. This is the bit that gives me the chills. How long would it have sat there if it hadn't been for the tow notice? How long did it take her family to finally discover where she was? I'm haunted by that particular fact. The vehicle was out of sight. Additionally, Celeste's mother used a tattoo that exactly matched David's to demonstrate that it was indeed her. This case evolved from a rumor to an indisputable fact. Everyone believed that everything would be resolved when the death certificate was eventually released. Rather, it merely prompted additional inquiries. Cause of death delayed was the official line. You know now. If you know, deferred does not imply that they are clueless. It indicates that they are waiting for additional testing results. Deferred, however, sounds more like we're not ready to inform you yet when a case is this large and has so many people watching it. And the internet has all the space it needed to begin conjecturing because of that silence. The idea that Celeste had been pregnant was one of the most persistent rumors. However, the certificate stated it was untrue. That ought to have ended the discussion. However, it didn't, because rather than providing answers, it instead increased people's suspicions about the reasons behind the lengthy information. And to be honest, that's the reason why so many people believe that a larger issue is being concealed. It doesn't feel like justice when the most important piece of evidence, the cause of death, is essentially ignored. It is similar to stalling. As a result, the documentation became just another piece of the jigsaw rather than providing closure. There is more to this issue than what is being disclosed, which is another reason why people are sure. The automobile was essentially telling on itself, which is the most terrifying aspect of this case. The Tesla didn't show up in the Hollywood Hills by chance. It had a parking ticket slapped on the windscreen and sat there gathering dust for days. The details were quickly brought to light by private detectives. The dirt accumulation, the ticket location, and even the parking arrangement of the vehicle. Nothing about it shouted abandoned by mistake. It appeared as though someone intentionally dropped it off and left, thinking that no one would notice too quickly. The worst part is still to come. This was no ordinary abandoned car. The most important question is that it was a Tesla, a vehicle with GPS and tracking cameras. How come more proof hasn't been gathered if the car has all this technology? Where is the video? The data trail is where? Just that difference gives the impression that someone knows exactly what they're doing and less like incompetence. Because, let's face it, Teslas don't simply go out of service. The car's timing is therefore among the most dubious aspects of the entire narrative. It was positioned, not merely parked. The narrative didn't stop there if the Tesla wasn't already suspect, because odd sightings began to appear just as people were coming to terms with the discovery. Someone photographed a girl in the audience at one of D4v's own performances who bore a striking resemblance to Celeste. The picture went viral right away because it had the same hair, build, and aura. From the crowd itself, people were zooming in, circling details, and stating that it seemed as though she was haunting him. Next came the footage of the meet and greet. A video of D4VD greeting fans appeared online. But he froze the moment a girl who looked like Celeste stepped forward. It wasn't subtle, you guys. His expression literally fell. One person online even said his face really said, "Wait, I thought I killed you." That's how eerie it appeared. Now, the response is what counts, regardless of whether you think those sightings were coincidences or not. Because each time such an incident occurred, it further strengthened the notion that Celeste was more than just another female in his life. He couldn't stop thinking about her. And despite his best efforts to flee, the shadow of what transpired in that Tesla follows him everywhere. Celeste's mother spoke out just when you thought things couldn't get much worse. And her version of events is devastating everyone. She went on to say that there had previously been concerns raised about Celeste's safety. She did, in fact, file missing reports back in 2024. Celeste would disappear for hours after leaving the house. Additionally, her mother always suspected that she was seeing an older person. However, nothing happened each time she raised it. It was not taken seriously. Then she made a terrifying revelation. She received a phone call one evening. She heard someone say bluntly, "Don't look for Celeste." Can you imagine hearing that as a mother and feeling unable to keep your child safe? The fact that she was aware Celeste was hanging out with David only makes it worse. Looking back, she makes the connections that many in positions of power did not want to see. She is now angry not only at him but also at the system for ignoring warning signs until it was too late. People can't get over that section since Celeste's journey in that Tesla wasn't the only thing that happened. Her mother had been pleading for assistance for a long time, but no one had paid attention. The story isn't limited to the Tesla, so let's take a moment to step back. It resides in the picture that D4VD created for himself. Additionally, it becomes more difficult to distinguish between art and reality the more you examine it. Recall that he was not initially a polished industrial plant. He was merely a gamer who was creating music in his sister's closet. Songs like Romantic Homicide became viral on TikTok, and because it felt unique and unadulterated, people adored that song. It was just emo energy back then. Those words now seem a lot too similar to Celeste's tale. Was he telling on himself before the world even realized it, or was this just his aesthetic? And here's the thing, the LAPD searched a Hollywood residence connected to D4VD's manager while the FBI stood next to them. They didn't leave empty-handed, you know. Bags of evidence were observed being carried out. The house where Celeste's body was discovered in the Tesla was only a few blocks away. That's proximity, not coincidence. This is where the creepiness increases. According to investigators, whoever relocated that vehicle purposefully stayed away from camera-equipped main streets. Since they took detours, we're talking about preparation rather than panic. Now, rather than being written off as a tragic accident, this is beginning to appear to have been planned. Additionally, The fact that the police are not only concentrating on D4VD, but also on his team, manager, and those around him indicates that they are not discounting the possibility that this is a multi-person issue. Additionally, the industry was severing TI, something it typically does when the heat heats up while police were gathering evidence. It started with the brands. Hollister and Crocs are gone. As if he had never been the face of their campaigns, they wiped his name. The music side then began to retreat. Artists who had arranged collaborations discreetly moved aside, and Kali's the most obvious. She wiped out their trace entirely, and that action spoke louder than words ever could. The internet was doing the exact opposite, going deeper while the industry was silently cleaning his name. Screenshots of D4VD in conversations with a user named Celeste began to circulate via Discord. Those communications had an all-too-familiar tone, and all of a sudden, people understood that she was more than just a random girl who had been connected to him after the fact. In fact, he was speaking to her. After that, a Reddit post reappeared, one composed a few weeks prior to her passing. It told the story of a fugitive girl who was spotted with a man named David. No one gave it any thought at the moment. However, it now appears to be a warning sign that was disregarded. At this point, everything begins to appear like a clear pattern and ceases to feel like a coincidence. D4D published songs on Celeste's birthday for 3 consecutive years. 3 years! People initially dismissed it. Perhaps it was just label timing, or perhaps it was random. It feels deliberate though when you align it with everything else. His vintage TikToks are another. When people looked them up, they discovered reposts with somber pictures, funeral themes, gravestones, and end-of-life captions, things that, while they hardly raised an eyebrow at the time, suddenly touched far too close.
Now, why the fuck would the artist do that?
And let's not even talk about the Labu toys. Like tiny mascots, he was giving them to his supporters at performances. Because Celeste used to post about them, some people find them cute, while others find them unsettling. People perceived it as his method of incorporating her memories into his work, as if he couldn't let go, not even while performing. When you put everything together, the birthday releases, the dark messages, the concert symbols, it depicts a person who is obsessed and unable to stop incorporating her into his world, even when no one else is aware of it. Now, Celeste's own family intervened when individuals believed that the internet might be getting through. When her brother Matthew stood out, he essentially verified what everyone else was speculating about. He said that Celeste was directly acquainted with D4D. This was not some speculative or haphazard fan hypothesis. She had made it clear to her family that she and David were going to the movies. They didn't see her alive again after that. Hearing it from her brother also adds a great deal of weight to the situation because her family is now filling in the blanks rather than just the internet. It demonstrates that there was more than simply an online illusion, there was a genuine connection and history. Even worse, she never returned from that night. Thus, in her brother's mind, her final words before going missing were connected to him. The story abruptly changed from perhaps they knew one another to this is too close to deny because of that one fact. The question that naturally arises is whether David acted alone or if there were other people involved, if Celeste actually left the house to meet him and never returned. Many people don't understand how her body was discovered. The Tesla was not abandoned at random. It seems to have been intentionally parked to evade the most visible cameras. By no means do you do that by accident. That person is forward-thinking. Then there are rumors that after Celeste first vanished, there was discussion of blackmail, according to former classmates and acquaintances. Rumors that make you pause and consider whether she was involved in something more serious than a failed relationship, but nothing specific, because clumsy maneuvers would be expected if this was just one guy in a panic. However, the intentional origins, the tidy dump, and the subsequent silence have others wondering if others were involved either to conceal their own secrets from being revealed or to protect him. Thus, the case now involves more than just Celeste's ordeal. The question is, who else knew? Furthermore, if the truth is ever revealed, it may bring down much more people than simply